Hey there guys, welcome back to another episode of Monster Super League. It's your boy Odin, and today we're going to be doing a Apophis guide for the wood Apophis. The wood Apophis is actually pretty neat. I do actually find this one to be pretty fun. There are several different ways that you can tackle the wood Apophis. I'm going to be using the curse method. You can also use the predator method. That's kind of similar to how I showed on my dark Apophis guide, where you can essentially just use a predator on a siphon set. I was using the Fire Beiji Evo 3. Mine is actually pretty decent, but I definitely didn't have enough skill books, and because I had my Fire Banshee essentially already skill booked, I figured I would go ahead and try this setup. Props and credit for this setup actually does not belong to me, it belongs to people on Discord. So if you're one of those few people that contributed to this setup, go ahead and give yourselves a pat on the back, because this is a pretty worthy setup. At least for the first sword. The first sword, it can be used with cursed. The second and third sword are kind of more generic, the same geared as the rest of them, where you can use lethal strike. But essentially, the best way to make some good damage is going to be on the first sword to use curse. I'm going to show you guys really quickly my Fire Banshee build, because I know this is something that most people are going to ask. And what you want to do with the Fire Banshee is you essentially want to put her on a siphon set. I am using, I believe it's triple attack. And here's my first gem. Obviously, your gem quality is going to probably differ from mine. I'm going to use whatever I have available to me. And this is essentially the best, the higher crit rate that I could find. I think my Fire Banshee is sitting at like an 80% chance to crit. And I could definitely use some improvements on her, because I definitely don't even have her enhanced. So there's a lot of improvement here to be made, especially with the dark candling and the light mirror, who I am using as the extra curse buffers. And then what you're doing here is you're essentially planning to use curse and fulminating curse to essentially blow up all of the curses that you can get on the boss himself. And you guys will see how I make that work here in a little bit. But essentially on the left hand side, I'm using one buff breaker, the wood Okeanos, and then on her backup is the fire Midsummer Miho. Midsummer Miho, of course, being a limited mon from the Midsummer summoning event, which should be back June this coming year. So definitely make sure you guys prep for that, because she is very, very useful. Prior to the wood Okeanos, there was really nobody with a full buff break, and so at least she's a great backup for this if you don't manage to get enough soul stones to pick up a fire Poseidon, or a fire Zeus. If you do pick up a fire Zeus, he can also be a replacement for the fire Midsummer Miho, but the Midsummer Miho has defense down, so she can be a very, very good replacement here for the light pixie, as you guys will see. The light pixie is mainly here for the defense down and for the extra heals on every turn. Of course, the shield from the wood Okeanos is meant to kind of keep you alive, and then the fire Okeanos is there for the resistance down and the immunity, although immunity is not really necessary for the wood Apophis. But on the back lane, I do have the fire Fungor as my backup, who I finally have at level 60. And yeah, so on the right hand side, guys, you'll see just the setup there. Once the fire or the dark colt dies, the fire pixie will essentially take its place to provide the exposed weakness for the banshee, who has a super slow attack, so her last attack will take advantage of the exposed weakness. The dark Okeanos there on the right is for the weekend and for the attack up and defense up buff. And then the of course the dark Venus is there for attack down and attack up. So you guys will see how I plan this out. I am also going to be using a dark Hades to give myself some extra curse in case my light pixie dies. Last week she died pretty quickly, so I'm just going to use him as a backup just in case. But yeah, you guys will see how this works, and then I'll try to break down the second and the third sword after this first attack. It has been a while since I've done this video recording, so I'm gonna see if I've made any improvements on my second and my third sword from last week. But yeah, so here we go, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys what you want to do to essentially try to build up a decent amount of curse. As you guys can see there, the Banshee already got her full SP bar, which means she's going to apply full fulminating curse here, and we should see some decent level jumps in the next attack for sure. All right, so here we go. And here comes the Pixie with the exposed weakness. And there we go, straight up to level 20. And like I said, this is a very, very unique method for the Wood Apophis. So definitely for some of you guys out there who are looking to better your teams and you can't build up a lethal striker, you can at the very minimum work your way to Curse. It is an easier option to build for a lot of players out there. So, you know, take advantage of the mons that you have. If you don't have, you know, like I said, you know, Evo 3 lethal strikers or you know, some of the newer mons like the Sariel, you can at the very minimum take advantage of the first sword, building, you know, the Beths, or for the Wood boss or the Wood Apophis here, doing the same thing that I'm doing, which is just using Curse. So looks like a full buff break didn't really work all the way through on that last one. Hopefully we're able to clear it here and apply some curses. And try to get a little bit more damage going. But as you guys can see, this is pretty effective. The shield does not matter that much. Looks like full buff break didn't land there that time. Unfortunate. And also the dark, what's his name? Candling died too quickly there. But, you know, maybe I could definitely use some improvement, like I said, on this team. So maybe for next week or so, I'll have a little better debuffer and some better stats on my cursors there, because they're definitely dying quickly. But nonetheless, you know, at least we're able to make it to some higher levels pretty quickly, and it should give you guys at least an idea of what you can build, like I said, without having to build the Evo 3 strikers for, you know, your first sword. And as you guys can see, it's probably just as easy to build Curse, or easier to build Curse than it is to build lethal strikers, at least for your first sword. And same thing with Predators, you know, it just doesn't take that much to build some Predators for the first sword. Unfortunately, we're getting really, really unlucky there, you know, with the Cursor on the left dying. But I was kind of hoping the Pixie would die sooner like she did last week, but I guess that's not happening this week. But alright, at least we made it to level 50 pretty quickly, and it's still only turn 15. The previous week I was able to make it all the way to level 80 on the first sword. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt, but you should definitely be able to do a fair amount of damage using Curse, at least to level, you know, 80, like I said, or level 100. I mean, we'll see here if my Hades is able to land some more curses and maybe at least get one more fulminating curse attack with a decent amount of damage. Not did that one. I don't think that one critted. But yeah, give or take, guys. At least it's a fair show of what you can do with Curse on the Wood Apophis. And if I remember right, Wood Apophis was the first Apophis that came out when Apophis first came out. So I think the week started like on a Wednesday. It was a really odd week. But essentially we started with the Wood Apophis, and almost nobody could do any damage because shield was the thing, and nobody had any shield Astromon built. So, all right, but only level 50 this week on the Wood Apophis there for the first sword. I'll probably end up having to, like I said, build up my cursors, and then I'll probably upload some other videos showing a little bit better damage next time, because Curse can definitely be really good to, or at least Curse is a great way to make it to at least level like 80 to 100. So, all right, here we go. We're going to try the second and third sword setups here. Kind of similar to my first lineup there on the left with the full buff break. This time, though, we are using exposed weakness for the right-hand side. I do have the Light Okeanos Evo 3 built up there as well, so she's there also for the attack down and then the attack up. I am missing Weaken for this first setup, so I actually think that I probably should be replacing the Light Okeanos in the back there with, or the Light Cherry, I should say, with the Fire Cernunos, and I do have a second one built up here, so let's go ahead and save him there, and we'll go ahead and basically try this setup here. I'm going to try to go without Weaken Because on the right hand side, if my fire pixie dies, I do have the fire Woojin who would give me the weaken, and I just lose the exposed weakness. That's not something you want to do, just so you know. You'd prefer to use actually, let me go ahead and put in the water Kira just in case. And where is my girl? There she is. And then let's instead put fire Woojin over here. There we go. So there we go. Let's see if we can try this setup here. You guys can pause the video and take a look at what I'm running. You know, it's going to be one of those last minute teams where if everybody else dies, you know, you guys will see that the what's her name? Glinda there will essentially be the last minute buff breaker to get me a little bit of extra damage when some of these mons died. But yeah, so you can definitely use on the left hand side another pixie instead of 2 full buff breakers. I'm using the 2 buff breakers because the Fireman's Armijo has defense down already on her 5-star skills, so you can kind of, you know, plan out how you want your teams this way as well. The Mira here should die in, like, you know, the first series of hits here. She's mainly there just for the crit damage leader skill, and you guys can essentially do the same thing with your setups. Just use like a, you know, the Dark Cult, for example, that I used. You can essentially just use like a level 1 mon to just get them to die there on the first turn, and then you know, have a better healer in for the right hand side. That way you guys are running 3 healers the way that I am now, and that should give you guys at least a little bit of a better setup for your right hand side, where you at the very minimum have 3 healers, you know. And if you're able to build a lethal striker like I did, you know, that will definitely boost your damage up. So as you guys can see, Fire Wuchi's already doing some serious work. He was the first double lethal striker, and he's actually been pretty solid in most of my teams. I highly recommend people to build one up of him. Definitely useful in arenas as well. And a little bit of other content too, as well as like the Wood Tower of Chaos, or not the Fire Tower of Chaos. So there are uses for him in other places besides just Arena and Apophis, but mainly Apophis. But I will say this, during active week on arenas, Fire Wuchi is just awesome against defense aggression teams. You know, he just literally one-shots like the whole entire team, especially like even on like an attack crit rate build. He's so good. He's just, you know, really good. So for a lot of you guys that don't have him yet, pray to the RNG gods they're able to pick one up, because he is really one of the better Astromon in the game right now for sure. Alright, so there we go. We're at least landing some defense downs. Like I said, I am missing Weaken, which I feel like is kind of hurting me a little bit. I probably should have replaced the Wood Okeanos and put in the Fire Cernudos on that side, but that's alright. We're just going for, you know, as much damage as we can this week. Not really, you know, we're just testing stuff out here. You know, there's no perfect setup, but you guys can definitely test out some different team compositions. So far, I'm already pretty happy with this change for this week. Like I said, I can definitely use some changes here and there for next week. I'm seeing that, like, for example, the Light Glinda came in a little bit too early. She's already dead. The Hana that I used was not super evoed as well, so I could definitely use some changes there. I put that Hana in there because I just changed her gem set to an full HP gem set for this boss. So I just wanted to see how she would do on HP defense, but she died pretty early, so. Alright, but at least 2.7 million on this second sword, which should hopefully allow me to make it to level 100 on the Wood Apophis. But like I said, don't underestimate curse. If you had better curses than me, you can definitely make a lot more improvement and get up way higher than I just did here during this showcase. So let's go ahead and pick up our Dark Zeus Soulstone, and we'll check on that later. I don't remember how many Soulstones I have. All right, so here we go. We're gonna make a couple of changes. Let's go ahead and first replace the Fungor there. Let's go ahead and put in this one, and then we're gonna need another Fire Pixie. And I think I already used my variant one. There she is, so we'll use her. And then we did use the fire Cernunos as well. Well, that actually set me up pretty bad because I already used the other Cernunos. But I can do this. Maybe we'll switch the Draka. And of course, she's going to be like towards the front here. Where are you, Draka? Am I missing you? Of course. Let's go ahead and change it to Evo 3 and 6-star. Where is the fire Draka? Why can't I find her? And I'm probably going to be watching this video later like, there it is, and I'm passing her like 4 or 5 times. It's got to be variant. Come on. There. Where is it? Oh boy. I'm going to spend half of the video looking for the Draka here. There she is. Jesus. All right, let's see. Who else can I add in replacement on the left there? We could probably use another Wukong just because that defense down did kind of come in handy there. All right, and we'll give this a try. I feel like I'm going to be losing out a little bit because I do have the weekend up on the right-hand side there. I probably should switch to Venus. Do I want to put weekend and attack up? No, it's okay. This should work because both the Midsummer Mihos got attack up as well. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go and give this a try. If I had another exposed weakness built up for the left-hand side, I probably should have used that instead. I kind of realized there last minute I did not put in a second exposed weakness, but we'll see if maybe this Fire Pixie will live a couple of turns. I mean, there's really only 20 turns, guys, and there's really no like wrong pick with your Astromon. Really what it comes down to is your gems quality. And like I've expressed my concern with the gem quality here now for a couple of like years. But it really Smart Study needs to kind of rework the gem system. With the addition of the new gems, which I do have a video coming out which will explain all of them and where they can benefit and where they don't. Hopefully you guys will get a feel for the gems in their setup. And I think, oh geez, my exposed weakness on the left hand side, I probably should change the attack order. Because I think I just saw the Okeanos steal the exposed weakness. Not good. But either way, yeah, like I said, the gem quality right now is definitely a major issue. Just because we really are lacking and really being set back by the whole, I guess, the existence of the flat substat gems. The flat substat gems really do nothing for you. And, excuse me, they really just add up for the RNG, which will just add much longer times for you guys to get the gems that you need to make them usable. And the game has been out for 6 years now. I don't see a reason why they can't take out the flat gems. With the amount of Astromon that exists in the game right now, it's like, we need a little bit of catch up, especially for new players. New players are not going to have any like decent gems when they first start out, or even mid-game players. So I think they need to rework it and get rid of those flat gems, especially flat recovery, because it's useless. To reduce some of the RNG so that folks are able to pick up a couple of decent gems that can actually help them continue to do some of the content. And if anything, the way I look at it from the business perspective, if your people are actually able to build the Astromon that they're summoning for, they're more likely to use them and do some better or engage in some of the actual content that exists within the game. So it's almost like you're in your benefit as it is to kind of like, make the game a little bit more fun. And if you were to remove some of those gem issues right now, we would definitely have a little bit more fun. So, all right, well, looks like I did at least make it to level 101, which is essentially the same level that I made it to last week. So I definitely think I just need to rebuild my cursors on that front team, and I should be able to make it a little bit higher next week on the Wood Apophis. So I may just do that, make little improvements here and there, but at least this guide should show you guys how you can tackle on the Wood Apophis. Granted, I know a lot of you guys are not going to have a lot of debuffers, to begin with, full buff breakers, but if you do get lucky and you pick up some Wood Okeanos, she should definitely help you up there. If not, you can also use the fire, what's her name? Kiki, the fire Kikimora, she's really, really good. So, you know, she's a good shield breaker. So, and there are other Astromon as well that do have shield break, shield break that you guys can build. I'm sure that the, what is the name of that guy? Let me go ahead and see if I can pick him up. He should be coming back around here soon too. Where is he? Probably in my inbox. And one of these days I probably should make a video in my inbox as well, because I do have way too many. Yeah, this guy here, the Moony Easter Rabbit. So that's probably right around the corner in, like, you know, April time frame. So I'm sure you guys will be able to pick him up. He does also have exposed weakness and lethal strike on the light one as well. And then of course the fire one has shield breaker. But I think that the creme de la creme is for a lot of you guys is going to be the wood or the fire nutcracker. And here he is. I never built one. I went on vacation, or I took a break or something like that last year during when he was released, so I never got one. But he's got buff break and shield breaker. It's not full buff break, and it's not, you know, the best combined shield break, because you kind of, full buff break essentially combines these two skills into one, so it's not the best. But if you're free to play and you're just a, you know, beginner to mid game player, you can definitely build him up as well to do the shield break as well. So but anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Do leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you are new. It definitely helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. But I hope you guys enjoy the content, and I'll, of course, stay tuned for some more, and I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Take it easy, guys.